Alright guys, so this is going to be the beginning of the desk video, and as you can see here, I've already kind of done some processing of my two 2x12s that I have mounted together here. And the reason we're starting on this process was these boards were pretty warped. You know, they're just were kind of your general dimensional lumber from Lowe's. And of course with it, you know, I think from Lowe's the lumber's grown a little bit faster, and that's why it's definitely cheaper than Home Depot, at least in my experience. The board's warped. This one on the end over here, right about here, warped up pretty high, and this one kind of had a center ridge all along it. But I was using this Craftsman hand planer right here, because that's kind of what I got. And maybe it being the first time I used it, I kind of unfortunately took a little bit too much off of that edge right there, trying to go sideways with the planer. You know, and I was able to flip the board over and use this backside, and then what I had done is I just mounted this ridge together here, this seam, and then I just took the planer to get you know, right along this edge and kind of along the center a little bit to get it evened out. And the reason I didn't film that is I'm a novice with it. I've never used the tool before. And honestly, this took me probably 4 or 5 days of off and on working after work. So it just, it would have taken a really long time to film it to get up to this point. What I'm doing, I went ahead and I hit it with some 120 grit on that Craftsman belt sander, and it came out pretty smooth, but it had left like some little divots where it stops. You know, and they're not deep or anything, but it's noticeable. So this is an automotive DA sander that I have, because I don't have an electric random orbital sander. That's what I would probably use for this. But after hitting it with the orbital sander, it's come out really nice and smooth. So I think what I'm going to do is, now that my compressor is kind of relaxed and had some time to cool down, I'm going to finish up the rest of this, sanding it off, and then I'm going to probably try to start staining it tonight out here. I want to stain it out here because this top is almost as big as the room. So got the room right over there, so I'm going to have to put it in that window right there to get it in. So, but when you guys come back, we'll probably be sanding and then hopefully get some stain on. Alright, so got this tabletop pretty much as sanded off as I'm gonna get it. There's still probably some other little spots that I could see after wetting it down that might need some attention, but I'm not gonna really worry about it too much. It's the surface is really smooth and pretty level, which is what I'm going for, really, mainly just to have this as, you know, a good workspace. So what I'm gonna do now, so I'm going to put some of this pre-stain on right here. It's supposed to just help it, you know, get a better, more even finish. And then we're going to put some of this darker navy 286 min wax finish on there. You know, obviously do the top, and then I'll flip it over. And even though the backside is unprocessed, I'm going to go ahead and stain that as well, just for an even look. For me, what I'm going to put the pre-stain on with is I'm going to go ahead and use some of these old socks with holes in them, just because I don't feel like wasting a good rag on that. And then for the stain itself, we just bought like a $4 you know, mitt that you can kind of spread the stain with. So we'll see how this turns out. Alright, so this is going to be the pre-stain. Let's see how this goes on here. that's nice and soaked. I'm just going to go in light layers, kind of like I'm almost brushing water on the surface. Do the top and then I'll come back and do the edges. Alright, so now that we got the pre-stain down, we're going to go ahead and start laying down this navy blue stain. I do like the sock, and since I got plenty of these socks, I'm going to go ahead and use this. Definitely a lot more blue than I was expecting, but you know, hey, I think it'll be good either way. So the table ended up coming out, you know, pretty blue, but yeah, I think that pre-stain did a really good job on keeping the color even, especially because I really, you know, kind of forgot to go back and really dry it, you know, with a dry cloth to kind of even this out. Me and my wife had picked out this color, you know, quite some time ago now, and I'm either gonna sand it down a little bit to kind of show a little bit of the, you know, the tops of the, oh, you know, these grooves right here. I forget what it's called, and you know, I'll put a little thing right there. But for me, I like the blue. It's very similar to Bronco blue, and that's a very, you know, I do like the Broncos quite a bit. So I just wanted to give you guys a little kind of up close. What we're gonna do next is probably polyurethane this, so then we can make it real durable and, you know, kind of usable instead of very, you know, being able to kind of mark it up real easy. Alright, so I'm going to do the polyurethane and this little Harbor Freight portable garage thing here, just because if you look on top of that, there's a bunch of stuff that keeps falling on it, so obviously don't want that in the finish, so we're going to do it in here to try to prevent stuff from falling on it. Alright, so we got the polyurethane here with a pretty decent brush. What I'm going to do is, I already kind of wiped this off, but before we put the stain on the urethane, I'm just going to go ahead and give it a good wipe down with this good brush here. Make sure we got all the small stuff off. Alright, good. are getting a little bit of what looks like bubbles, so hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us, but I didn't shake this can at all, so hopefully I don't have any issues. Maybe I can, if I spread it out pretty thin, maybe there won't be any bubbles. Yeah, it looks like that's the ticket. Really livens up this blue a whole lot, this polyurethane. Just do some light coats here. We'll go ahead and put you guys on time lapse. Alright, so this is after the first coat of polyurethane. I'm sure this will level out a little more. I literally just put this on, but you can kind of see how nice that brings out the color. Let this dry overnight, and then we're going to come back tomorrow and sand this down with some 220 before we do a second and potentially a third coat. But I couldn't be happier with it. That is beautiful. Alright, so it's the next morning. As you can see, that this first coat dries kind of to a matte finish. It's not super glossy or anything. We'll get back to that point with more coats. I think since this one kind of soaked up so much, I'm not going to worry about sanding it. We'll just go ahead and throw another coat on to get it drying. Alright, so we got 3 coats of polyurethane on here. We went ahead and sanded after the second coat because, as you can see, there's some kind of there's holes and stuff in here. We had some bugs get in. On this third one, it looks like the imperfections we had here is one of the brush hairs came off and then had a bug right there. But this polyurethane is just starting to get really smooth and almost to the finish we're looking for, to where it's, I think it's gonna be durable. But what we're gonna do is probably just sand those 2 sections out, make sure there's no other areas. Maybe go over a light hand sanding of this whole top piece, and we'll probably throw on another coat. So then when we go ahead and buff this out, because I think that's my plan, I'm going to try to experiment around with the finish and getting this done, but and so then we can make it a little bit more durable for that. Alright, so just got this tabletop inside. It's still curing. It's good enough to like work with and touch. Got 4 coats on it, but we're gonna have to wait several days, I mean maybe even a week, before I'm gonna come back and polish this up to make it look really glossy, smooth. We're gonna go ahead and attach these legs on right here, and then after we get them on, we'll measure the space in between the legs and get another white spacer piece there to kind of tie it together. What we're using here is a Craig jig. Drill these pocket holes, and the screws will just come right out here in the end and pull it in, and we'll drill these all along here. So what we got here, I'm going to be using 1.5 inches. So kind of got the bearing set there to it, right down here. So go around and attach these legs and go from there. Alright, so I got the legs put on. One of the issues I have with this desktop being just a little bit warped is you can see those legs are pretty flat. And if you look over there, not so much. This outside one over here is flat. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna remeasure that leg right there, and we're gonna paint it up while we're painting up these sections right here. Get those cut out, and then we'll get, after that, hopefully be pretty good and sturdy. I mean, it's not very flexible right now, but it could definitely use a little bit more support. So. Alright, so I already have one of these screwed down right here. I'm just going to go through and show these two. This one's a little too close to the edge, so I'm not going to do it. But then we'll do these two over to the side, and hopefully that'll help brace it up. Alright, so here's the desk with the side pieces on and the legs on completely. Really happy with how the finish came out. I'm going to wait another, I don't know, until tomorrow, so that this has been drying for probably 30 hours, give or take. And then I'm going to come back with some automotive polish. Not sure if that's going to give me the super clear finish I'm looking for, but I'm looking for just a little bit more shine than this. You can see over here too, the same situation. It's pretty big desk. You know, I think this is 118 inches long, but we were really just looking for as big of a desk as we could possibly fit in this room. And you can see that this is it's pretty big. And it's kind of nice because we have an outlet on pretty much either ends, because what we're going to do is eventually mount some power strips right here underneath or right in the top. But you can see that the door open, you know, with plenty of room. So pretty happy with it, how it came out. The wife's happy with it. And we'll kind of just keep piecing this room together little by little. So, all right, so we've let this table dry, I don't know, 24, it's a little over 24 hours. So what we're gonna do is take some of this polishing compound for, you know, kind of lighter scratches and stuff like this. This finish actually came out really well, but I'm just trying some experiments here. I'm going to take the microfiber cloth, first clean the surface off, make sure there's no dirt on it. And then what I'm going to do is, kind of polish this with the microfiber and the compound, and then I'll come back with a clean microfiber towel and rub it off, just kind of like a car. And we're going to see if we can't get it any shinier. As you can see right there, there is a reflection from the turtle wax polishing compound. See if we can get that any glossier. All right, so this was after one quick round of this turtle wax rubbing compound or polishing compound. It didn't make a huge difference as far as the gloss goes, but one thing you can't see is it definitely made it a lot smoother. It had kind of a coarse or like almost like a sticky feel to it before. And just this light polishing compound had really smoothened it up. So I think what I might do is I have some rubbing compound from turtle wax. It's going to be a little bit more aggressive, and I'll probably come back over this tabletop with that, and then maybe hit it again with this polishing compound and see if we can get it to shine up some more. Alright, so after we went ahead and did the rubbing compound and the polishing compound, it definitely looks, pretty shiny to me. It kind of helped to bring out the finish, but since this is kind of an experiment for me on, how to do the finishes here, we're going to go ahead and put some of this wax on here and see if we can really bring out the shine. Only got one clean microfiber towel left, so what I'm going to do is try to apply it with these paper towels. Since it's what I got, and then I'll wipe it dry with that microfiber. Alright, so it's hard to say if, the wax had made a drastic difference, but I think as far as, smoothness and reflection-wise with the polishing compound and the rubbing compound and then the wax on the end, I think that definitely worked. Maybe not as good as hitting it with like 400 grit sandpaper, but I think for minimal amounts of work, it definitely helps to bring out the shine. So this is probably where we're gonna wrap up this desk video. If we need to go back later on and add some supports, that's what we'll do. But we're gonna be waiting on getting some monitors and getting everything moved in here pretty soon. So hopefully you can do like a setup video or something like that. But if you like what you saw, please hit the like button. And if you want to see some more content similar to this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the bell notification, and leave a comment down below if you have any questions or comments. Thanks.